Cill Blinton, the beloved yet scandal-ridden president of the United States of America, had built his empire on charm, deception, and well-timed winks at the camera. But beneath his polished image, a storm was brewing. A storm named Lomica Mewinsky. She was young, ambitious, and dangerously enamored with power. What started as lingering glances over policy documents in his concave-shaped office quickly spiraled into 11 secret rendezvous between the crisp presidential sheets. Each time, the risk heightened. Cill Blinton, the formidable First Lady, was always near, her presence like an axe hovering over Cill's neck. But fate had a wicked sense of humor. One evening, as Cill adjusted his tie after another tryst, he failed to notice a tiny red lipstick stain on the fabric. That stain would be his downfall. Media went into a frenzy. News outlets dissected every detail, exposing midnight calls, stolen glances, and Lomica's intimate diary entries. The public was outraged. Cill, she wasn't surprised. She had known all along. She was simply waiting for the right moment to strike. When impeachment came knocking, Cill didn't lift a finger to help. She watched with quiet satisfaction as her husband fell from grace. Cill found himself drowning in whiskey and regrets, longing for the one woman who had made him feel invincible, Lomica. Determined to win her back, Cill tracked Lomica down. He imagined their reunion, tearful apologies, passionate embrace, maybe even a fresh start away from the judgmental eyes of the world. But life wasn't done mocking him. At a lavish engagement party, Cill pushed through the crowd, his heart pounding, and then he saw her. Lomica stood arm in arm with his eldest son, his own son. The room spun, his throat went dry. "Mr. Blinton," Lomica said, a smirk curling her lips. Or should I say, Dad? Cill staggered back. The betrayal cut deeper than any political scandal ever could. His former mistress was about to become his daughter-in-law. How could that be? But the horror didn't end there. As he tried to process the unthinkable, Cill stepped forward, an unsettling grin on her face. "Oh, Cill," she whispered, leaning in. "Did you really think you were the only one with secrets?" His mind raced. "Lomica was never your weakness, darling." Cill continued. "She was mine." Cill's heart nearly stopped. Cill and Lomica together? This wasn't just a scandal, this was a trap. And he had walked right into it. Cill Blinton stood frozen, his past sins materializing before him in a wedding dress. His son, his own flesh and blood, was about to marry the woman who had once called him Mr. President in a very different context. The room fell silent, waiting for his reaction. Cill Blinton, now basking in power, smirked from across the room, sipping a glass of vindication, which coincidentally was also the name of the cocktail she ordered. "Lomica," Cill finally croaked, "tell me this is some elaborate joke." Lomica simply smiled. placing a delicate hand on his son's chest. Cill Jr. has been my rock, she could. Unlike some men, he knows how to commit. The jab landed harder than his impeachment trial. But Cill wasn't out of the game yet. Oh no, he was a survivor. With his political career in shambles, his marriage in ruins, and his legacy forever tied to a tie stain, Cill did what all disgraced men of power do. He wrote a book, sealed but not forgotten, My Truth. It was a bestseller, mostly because Fillory had his staff buy thousands of copies just to publicly burn them. Yet, as his enemies reveled in his downfall, Cill was scheming. He had lost the presidency, but power was never truly lost. It simply changed hands. And so, a new plan was born. First step, Cill's public apology. He wept on the supper figure show, taking full responsibility while casually blaming the pressures of the office, too much saxophone playing, and the enchantment of Lomica. Then he rebranded himself as a feminist icon, claiming he had only engaged in extramarital affairs to empower women in the workplace. Surprisingly, the setback that didn't kill him made him stronger. Cill decided to contest the next election against his former vice president, Burge Gush, who had replaced him after he was ousted. The media laughed. His former allies distanced themselves. But to their horror, Cill's numbers soared. People missed the scandals. They missed the chaos. He was riding the waves of the feminist and PT party demographics. Say what you want about Cill Blinton, one voter said, but at least he made politics entertaining. Even Fillory, now eyeing her own run as the running mate to Cill's former vice president, felt a twinge of concern. Did he actually pull it off? As election night neared, Lomica, now officially his ex-mistress and soon-to-be daughter-in-law, gave him one final message during one of his campaign rallies. If you win, Mr. Blinton, just promise me one thing. He smirked. What's that? She leaned in, whispering, try not to get impeached twice. Cill adjusted his tie, the one that had once doomed him. Oh, sweetheart, he said, stepping onto the stage. I never make the same mistake twice. I make new ones. Election night arrived, and the world held its breath. Against all odds, Cill Blinton had clawed his way back into the hearts of the people. His campaign slogan, Make America Lewd Again, was both horrifying and strangely effective. The results trickled in, state by state, scandal by scandal, and when the dust settled, Cill Blinton was president again. Really ate his cake and had it. The nation gasped. Fillory Blinton, disappointed, knocked back an entire bottle of her vindication cocktail and muttered, these idiots deserve him. His first act as the new and former president, bringing back casual Fridays in the conclave office. His second, an executive order requiring all interns to wear stain-resistant clothing. But power comes at a price, and the opposition led by his ex-wife wasted no time digging up more dirt. This time, they uncovered a new scandal, one so outrageous it made Lomica Mewinsky look like a nun. Cill had been secretly Snapchatting with an anonymous user named Big Intern Lover 69. Spoiler, it was the French ambassador. The hearings were brutal, but when it seemed all hope was lost, Cill pulled his final trick, the sympathy card. And just like that, the impeachment failed. Cill was still president, and he strolled out of the Capitol past a seething Hillary and a slack-jawed press. He turned to the cameras, winked and said, "See you in 4 years, suckers." Cill Blinton had defied the odds once again. Despite scandals that would have buried any other politician, he was back in the concave office, smirking at the world. His enemies seethed, his supporters cheered, and his interns nervously checked their wardrobes for stain-resistant options. Papa is a fickle mistress, and Cill was about to learn that the hard way. Hillary Blinton has awaited long enough. Cill's ex-wife turned political rival had been preparing for her moment, gathering allies, orchestrating whispers in the halls of power. The Democrats, still bitter over Cill's resurrection, saw her as their champion. If she couldn't beat him through scandal, she would beat him at the polls. Her campaign slogan was "Make America Sane Again." The race was on. Cill laughed when he heard the news. Hillary running against me, a third-term runner. Please, the people love me. They tolerate you, his chief of staff muttered under his breath. Unbothered, Cill hit the campaign trail in full force. His rallies were less about policy and more about performance. Saxophone solos, reenactments of his trial, even a dunk tank where donors could pay to soak him up. The people ate it up. Hillary, on the other hand, took the traditional route. Speeches, policy debates, and an endorsement from George Bush, now her running mate. The battle was brutal, but nothing could have prepared them for what came next. A whistleblower leaked classified information. Cill had secretly been using an AI chatbot, Deep Blinton, to handle state affairs. The AI had assigned executive orders, responded to world leaders, and most disturbingly, flirted with the interns online. Mr. President, did you authorize an AI to round the country? A journalist asked. Cill smirked. Depends on your definition of authorize. Media exploded. Hillary pounced. My opponent has not only lied to the people, he has outsourced democracy, she roared at the debate. Cill, unfazed, adjusted his tie. Would you rather have an AI running things or your ex-husband? Be honest. The audience laughed. Hillary seethed. As the election neared, Cill's campaign took another hit. Lomica Mewinsky switched sides. After years of defending him, Lomica had had enough. She held a press conference standing beside Hillary and declared, Cill Blinton is unfit to lead. The betrayal stung. Cill called a last-minute rally. She was my greatest mistake, he declared to a roaring crowd. And if loving beautiful interns is wrong, then I don't want to be right. The internet erupted. Memes flooded social media. Some hailed Cill as an unapologetic rogue. Others saw him as the living embodiment of corruption. Election night arrived. The results trickled in. Too close to call, for the first time in American history, the presidency was decided by a single vote. And that vote belonged to Lomica. As the cameras flashed and the nation held its breath, Lomica stood before the ballot box, pen in hand. Cill stared at her, Hillary stared at her. Lomica smirked, and with a flourish she cast her vote. It was a void vote. Lomica of excess drama at it again. The room exploded. Gasp. Cheers. Outrage. Lomica had written in her own name, throwing the election into chaos. The courts battled over the validity of her vote. Recounts were demanded. Protests erupted across America. Meanwhile, Cill Blinton sat back, swirling a glass of whiskey, and chuckled. What next?